pass each way will do it. Hey woodturners, I'm Captain Eddie Castle and welcome to my shop. I'm sharpening up because I got a little project I want to get into. It's a little screw off box and you help me by finding me the inserts. You want to know how it's done? All you have to do, watch. Before we get into this project, I got to answer a question I get about once a week. You guys call and or write me and say, where can I find all your videos? Right there. Oh, right there. Right there. See the little chevron thing that says Captain Eddie, your videos? It's right there. Yeah. You go to my channel. Subscribe to my channel. And every time I put a new one out, it'll be right there. No, it'll be right here. It'll come up on your screen. But if you're looking for all the old ones, they're right there. All you have to do is go there. It'll give you the listing. Some servers, they go up and down. Some they go back and forth, but they all go. So if you're looking for the videos, it's all right there. Now, what we're going to do today is get quickly to a position of having this. This is the roughed end blank for this project. I've got some video. Let's see if it matches what we're going to do. To get this piece started, what we have, Cocobolo, 2 inches by 2 inches by 3 3/8. Crazy how it worked out. It's almost exactly pi, or the golden mean, which is 1 is equal to 1.61803398874999. I did the math, I came up short. But it's pretty close. But I'm going to change this dimension and not that dimension, so it's going to get closer. And if you don't follow that, it's perfectly okay, as long as it looks good. Now, I have the piece up, chucked up. How I did that, I put a glue block down here and I faced it off. Then I took the piece with a good square end on it and I put it up against it and squared and glued it up. I let it cure, or allowed it to cure. Then I went over here and squared up this end with the live center up against it. Then I took another glue block that I had a center mark on, put some medium thick super glue on it and brought it back up. Why 2 glue blocks and why between centers? Because this is my end goal, is to have this piece. Now when I cut it in half, this glue block's going to hold the top, this glue block's going to hold the bottom, and there's not going to be any difficult rechucking of this thing. We're going to have 90% of it done. We're going to do the top first, then put it on the bottom with the threads on it so we can finish the top. Might sound a little complicated, but it's a really good plan. Ready? Let's turn some wood. You got to be loving these new camera mounts. I sharpened up the rough end before we got started because I want good smooth cuts. Guys will ask me, Cap, why don't you use your round, your square cutters? Well, because this roughs in much better on spindle work than that does, because it cuts differently. Once I'm down to something I work with, I can switch over to it. But right now, this is in my hand. To lay this out, I'm going to get out my phi calipers. I have this, how to build these on my website. They're a caliper that gives you, for 1.618. So for every inch here, I have 1.618 inches over here. And that gives you the golden mean. This will help you lay it out. Now, this is the overall length. Take a look at this. That's the overall width. So we're going to be perfect together and where we separate it, or as close as we can. And remember, it only matters if you like it. From this point, we can take our tools and shape this to what we want. Let me tell you what the goal is. We're going to bring this center down to use this ring. Now, I got this from Lee Valley Veritas, Lee Valley Tools. thanks to you guys and the 86 of you who sent me emails and phone calls, and Nick in California who called to make sure I got his email and phone call. Thanks guys for finding this, but I'll let you know, I didn't buy them at Lee Valley before. They have this size, which would just about work for this. See, it's almost the right size. And this one. But since I'm making a needle case for my wife, and I want it to be a little more artsy, I'm going to go with a small one, and I'm going to do an hourglass type thing, which is right here. That's the one I'm going to go with, and put the small ring down inside of it. You won't see the ring when we get done. I don't want the gold showing. I want a perfect grain match where this line will carry through, more importantly than the other. So this is roughed in. I'm gonna get it out the way. That's tomorrow's project, and get the other one back on the lathe. Before we go too far, I want to show you something, or caution you about something. When you have the other piece on the lathe, before you take it off, true up this tendon. It may walk a little bit, so take your scraper. I use my skew because I have it sharpened to that angle that matches the angle on the inside of my smooth jaws. So I use this and I true this back up so the top runs as true as the base. Next, I'm going to slice this off, put the ring in, and glue it back together. This is not a real quick project, but you can, in stages, do 3 or 4 at one time. With my shop-made parting tool, when you realize you're about a 1/4 inch away, which is about now, take the pressure off your tailstock so when you go in it will not jam. See, that didn't jam. It's not one of those hero moves. It's a pretty good cut, isn't it? Next, we're going to drill a hole down through the center. I'm picking something that's just under the inside diameter of the ring. The ring still has to have a shoulder when you put it in there. Show you more, but that's what I'm starting with. Brought the lathe speed down to about 500 RPMs. This mark is the depth that I want to cut over here. I laid it out while you were going. Where'd you go? And if you ask, I have not found the key to my chuck. But the search isn't over. Next week we go looking in Montana, because I think I've looked everywhere south. I'm leaving a fairly deep bottom in the box because of the point of that forcinger bit. I want to eliminate that mark later. It's the point that's here. I want to eliminate that, and it stands proud about 1/8 of an inch. So the bottom of the box is a little deep. These rings come in 2 pieces right here. To do like a traditional jar, this would be the one with the thread sticking up. To get this in the right place, in the right way, what I'm going to do now is set the collar and about half of this gold ring down into this piece. I am a little bit proud. I'll do that by bringing the speed up to about 700 RPMs. First, clean off the face a little bit. Make it nice and smooth. I want to make this nice and smooth. So I just take my multi-tool and face it off. I do not want to remove a lot of material, because that would change my grain match. I'm going to go right here on this edge. Make sure I'm reading it good. And do a little check. This is going to be cut and check, cut and check. As I said, cut, check, cut, check, cut, check. A little bit of a cut, a little bit of a check. Almost wide enough to get it down in there. just about as much as you think you want to cut, you want to cut about half of that, because you don't want it to look real bad. And we want to be about halfway in there. I moved you so you're in a position to understand what's going to happen next. This ring goes in this depression. It is extremely critical that it's parallel to this face. So we're going to use a little bit of medium thick super glue, and this is gel type. I really think I picked this up off the table at the meeting wrong, so got the wrong product. Put it in there, smooth it around. I don't want to get it in the threads, so I made sure it was light. And my piece to push it in is right here, because I have to be sure that when I do this, this is running true. Now, don't worry about it not being ready or not lining up. True is where I'm going to get to, because if you're not true, the cap's not going to sit right. If you remember what happened a little while ago, we took this bottom, drilled it, cored it, did all that other stuff. Now we'll do the top. Just want to make sure you remember that. If you don't remember that, you really need to get your name embroidered on the underwear. I don't want to go much deeper than that. Don't need to. I'm not going to store anything in a cap. So that's the cap cut. When you get the second ring fitted in that slot, you're going to put it on the first one and fit it up against here, and you see how we have a nice even crack but not a big gold band showing. So we've concealed that gold piece by setting it down in there. Now here's a caution. Before you screw this ring onto here, you make absolutely positively no doubts about it that all that super glue is cured and dried. Because I read about a guy one time that threaded it on there while he was making a YouTube, and it stuck, and he had to take it all apart. Don't let that be you. It was me. Don't let it be you. We cleaned this up and we rubbed it, sanded the inside and all before we put the ring on. Well, if you remember that, let's do it. As you can imagine, the most important of the next step is that ring's going to be tight. You can put a little wax on the threads if you worry about it. And then I want to line up that thread match right there. But I don't want to go backwards to do it because I may loosen the cap. So I always want to go forward, or to tighten, make sure that thread match is there. Then I know my reference points. I don't need a pencil mark, I've got that one. Go back here, put just a drop or two of that medium thick CA in there. Not enough to run out. Fit it together, twist it, and bring my tailstock up real quick to press it into place. Now that is, look at the grain match. I got a little bit off. I got about a half a second to get it adjusted. There, grain match here, all the way around. To me, that's very important. To you, it may not matter, and you can use two kinds of woods. It's all up to personal preference. Remember, I'm just giving you ideas, not rules and guidelines. I need to let this cure. So that's what makes this a little bit extended project. I've got a couple of glues that have to cure. I'm going to let this one cure, and then I'm going to flip it around, trace up the top, and get back into it. What you're looking at here is a piece I ornamented on my ornamental lathe machine called Lathe-Zilla. It's a piece of African blackwood. It's about a ½ inch thick. I just took a slice of African blackwood and made a rosette on it, and it turns pretty true. But I want to set this on the top of that jar. Suppose that you do not have an ornamental lathe. You didn't make a donation to Freedom Pens and get a $20 set of the drawings on how to build one. and you're looking for something to put in that lid, this is a piece of a Corian type product that someone gave me some samples on, and it comes up pretty nice. Now, I domed it a little bit, and I'm going to square the sides off one more time after I sanded it up, and then I'm going to part it off here and keep it about 1/8 of an inch thick. This will go into another kind of jar. We put the insert in. We have the top on. Not really snug, but we still have a good grain match here and here. We're going to part this off. The key part of this is we're going to bring up the speed enough to where we get a good, fast, clean cut. And we're also going to keep the center loose so we can back it off in a hurry and get it out the way. The worst thing we can do right now is jam this piece. So we're going to take light cuts, keep it wide, not allow it to bind up, and get it off. After the finish is cured, I buffed on one good coat of soft, shiny hot wax, and the outside of this is now done. Take my soft touch away. All this is fine. I will probably take this over to the buffer and buff it this way so that I remove any fine marks, but there are very, very few from the buffing. Otherwise, I got a really good finish on this. Now, next step, I'm going to part this off, take it off the base, so I can flip around and finish the bottom. Yep, we still have to flip it around. Well, we do that with the jam chuck. But first, let's put Home Depot dowels. I took my profile spigot jaws and put a dowel in, and I turned it to fit down into the throat of that a little bit. I've rubbed the bevel the whole way. Why do you think I have to sand that? Because of habit? That's the only reason I would. Once you have that all buffed up, cleaned up, just pop it off your chuck. Put that lid on. We have an awesome grain match here. That's important to me, maybe not you. Got a pretty little top. I'm going to take it over to the Beal, put a little white diamond on it, buff out a couple of those marks, put a little more wax on it and buff it out again. Go get my NSK engraver, and I took a small point and sharpened it and put my name real small around the bottom, and then the wife gets it. I'm going to make some points. And guess what? Today, March 16th or 15th, whatever, 23 years ago, I fell in love with that woman. Yep. And ain't a day goes by when she doesn't remind me about it. Hey, I'm Captain Ed Castellan. I've been here today, really making some shavings. Hope you had fun. Take care now. Ooh. Hey, you guys that belong to Team Blackhawk, do you know we're one of the largest group of turners for Freedom Pens in the world? That's right, we have about 60 guys actively turning Freedom Pens right now for Team Blackhawk. Yeah, Team Blackhawk. And if you want to be part of it, all you have to do is drop me a note and say, hey Cap, I want to be part of the team. And I'll put you in touch with the Sarge. And you too can be turning Freedom Pens. It's all for them great young men and women who represent us all over the world, protecting the freedom the way we know it's supposed to be. You want to be part of the team? Drop me a note. Right here. That's the address. Team Blackhawk. For Freedom Pens, too.